All right. Welcome, everyone. Thank you all for being here and sharing your practice. This is our second edition of Viewer's Choice or Yoga Student Choice. So I received some requests and we're going to incorporate those into this yoga practice today. And I would say this is a pretty gentle practice, and we're going to be incorporating some flowy movements, some gentle twist, some gentle release through the neck, and some of the nerves that get kind of tightened and bound down around the neck, shoulders, chest. And yeah, so even though I'm saying it's gentle and maybe more of a restorative class, there might be some things that don't work for you. So please feel free to modify, adapt, substitute, rest at any time during the practice. As far as props go, either have two yoga blocks or two blankets, two towels that are about the same size. I am going to be using the yoga blocks in a few of the other poses, so you might like to have those for other reasons as well. And the strap today is only if you need it for the quad stretch. So if you struggle to reach back and find the foot, or it's painful to the shoulder, the knee, or whatever, grabbing the strap for that purpose. We are going to start in a belly down position, releasing tension in the muscles between the shoulder blades. So I'm going to use my two yoga blocks for this, but this could be two rolled up blankets, two rolled up towels. I'm also going to use my folded blanket here so it's under my forehead, because I'm doing this release on both sides at the same time. And for me, I have some arthritis in my neck, so turning my head to rest on my cheek doesn't work. So I'm going to have the blanket under my forehead so I can keep my neck in neutral. So I'm placing the yoga blocks here so that when I lie face down, the blocks are under my shoulders and they're snuggled in pretty close to my rib cage. Now you have options here. I'm turning my head just so you can hear me a little better at first. You have options here to have the arms out to the side, sort of cactus position like, or straight out, or down by your sides. I prefer the down by my side position. It allows a little bit more release of tension around my upper back and shoulder blades, but it's totally a subjective preference. You want whatever you have under your shoulders to be big enough to push the shoulder blades towards the spine. Not so that it feels like a stretch, but that you're propped there. I'm going to come up a little higher on that higher level of the blocks and make any adjustments you need to once you get here. Right, so you may not have landed in the exact right place or the most comfortable position. So make any adjustments you need. We're going to be here a couple of minutes, so it's worth making that effort to get comfortable. Once you feel like you've gotten into a good position, the work of this part is done. So the props are pushing the shoulder blades towards the spine so that the muscles between the shoulder blades slacken and therefore relax. This is my go-to position when I feel achy, fatigue, pain. Sometimes I even have kind of knots or trigger points in my muscles between the shoulder blades. So this is a position I'll come into to find some relief there. And if you've, done a lot of mileage on the erg or in the boat, these muscles of the upper back have gotten repeated work. So a good recovery position for them. I'd like you to tune into the breath here, starting to breathe through the nose if you can, both inhale and exhale. And start to slow the breathing down. Lengthen out both the inhale and the exhale. You might notice here in that belly down breathing that you can feel the belly, the lower ribs expand, pressing into the floor. As you breathe out, the whole torso relaxing, softening towards the earth. Take a few more breaths here. Set an intention for your practice. So, thinking about what you'd like to get out of this practice, whether it's to feel less sore, is it to get more freedom of movement? Is it to feel joy in movement? Is it to improve your mobility, prevent injury, or just to have fun? Bring this thought, your intention, what you'd like to get out of the practice here to the front of your mind, and breathe with intention. We're going to take these props out from under the front of the shoulders, put them off to the sides, that blanket, if you have it there, off to the side. We'll start moving here with the hands under the shoulders, the elbows point towards your feet, and a little low cobra. So we pull the shoulder blades towards the spine and then towards the back waist to peel the head and chest up off the ground. So I'm pushing very little with my hands. And then lower the head, turn it towards one side. So you come to rest on your cheek briefly. We'll do this again. So shoulder blades towards the spine, the back waist, lift the head and chest. Exhale, lower, turn your head the other way. Do that one more time to each side. So you're not pushing with your arms, and it's really those shoulder blade muscles we were just relaxing that are working to lift the head and chest up off the ground. Come down to rest here. So you could keep it at that version of the twisting cobra, or you could make this a little bigger and the rotation coming from the upper back a little bit more. So you'll bring your hands out to the sides, elbows bent, pointing towards the ceiling, up on the fingertips here. Lengthen the tailbone towards the foot of the mat, protecting the lower back. We'll lift the head and chest. And again, very little pushing with the hands. Now I'm going to lower the shoulder and look away from that lowered shoulder. Inhale, lift the head, chest through center, neck long. Exhale, lower the other shoulder, turn the head away. Inhale, lift and lengthen through center. Exhale, twist. We'll do one more to the other side. Inhale, bringing it up through center. Hands underneath the shoulders, and we're pressing ourselves up to hands and knees. And you might choose to put that blanket underneath the knees for padding purposes. Setting up here in the tabletop position. So you have the wrists under shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Remember, your options for the hands could be loose fist, could be forearms down on the floor, or the blocks to take the pressure off completely. Cat and cow of the spine. So we round through the back, tucking the chin and tailbone under, and then we lift the tailbone, belly towards the floor, chest forward. Exhaling to round through the back, pushing the floor away, shoulder blades move apart. Inhaling, spine arching downward, shoulder blades towards each other. A few more here like this. Keeping it gentle, especially if you're tight or sore. You could keep it like that, or come up on a tinted finger. So similar fingers to that twisting cobra we were in, but there's a little more pressure going through. So especially if you have arthritis in your fingers or the base of the thumb, this may not feel as good. But I'm doing the same cat-cow motion, just a different hand position, which for me gives me a little bit more movement through my spine. And we'll bring this back into neutral spine position. Maybe palms come down flat again, or you change the hand position. And one of the requested ones was this specific one. We're stretching one leg back and across. So it's going to come off your mat. And then depending on how the neck feels, you're turning your head to see that foot, or at least in that direction. And bring the knee back down. Then we switch sides. Inhale, other leg crosses over. Maybe you peek around the shoulder to look at the foot. And then exhale, lower the knee back down. We're alternating sides. You're in charge of how big this sensation of stretch is for you, right? So you could keep it gentle. Maybe you do a few and it's feeling like you have a little more range of motion, but you start to warm up. Maybe you take that big side stretch through the waist and rib cage, but you're not turning the head as much. So listening to what your body is telling you and altering these movements to make it work better for you. One more time to each side. We'll bring that knee back down. So now I'm walking my knees out a little wider than my hips. And the reason for this, we're about to do a twist. The reason for this is to make the twist come from the mid and upper back as opposed to the lumbar spine or from the pelvis, which is not designed for that rotation. We're bringing one hand behind the head and we're rotating the elbow up towards the ceiling and then rotating elbow towards the opposite wrist. You might even bend the supporting elbow for more twist. Inhale, elbow up, exhale, cross it over. A couple more here. We'll bring the hand back down, switching to the other side, hand behind the head, inhale, elbow up, exhale, elbow towards opposite wrist. 3 more. You might find there's some limitation here, maybe one side more than the other, and you're just working within this range of motion that you comfortably have. Maybe you're noticing one side's a little harder to move, to open, to twist. It's okay. That's pretty normal. We'll lower that hand back down, finding a resting position, whether it's child's pose or puppy pose. So child's pose is hips over heels, forehead resting down. Puppy is hips over knees, forehead resting down here. Maybe on flat, your yoga mat, or pull hands underneath, or even a yoga block there. That puppy pose is a less compressive pose to lower body joints and the spine. So it might be more comfortable for you, but it's certainly better if you have low bone density in the spine or the compression of the hip and knee joints is uncomfortable. Herniated disc is another reason to substitute puppy for child's. Take a few breaths here. Remembering that intention for the practice. You could stay here longer, resting more, or perhaps you come up to hands and knees, or you could stay on your forearms if you want to take the pressure off the hands as we do this toe rocking motion. So one leg is straight back, knee off the floor, shifting forward to bend through the toe joints and then pressing the heel back for a little calf stretch. Forward and back here a few times. I'm noticing how my head kind of wants to droop down or look back towards my toes, and I'm resisting that, keeping the back of the neck long, just engaging the muscles that support the spine here, and keeping my head out of that forward head position. Change sides. Same thing. You might notice a difference here side to side. I definitely am different left and right with this motion. All right, we'll lower both knees down here, and I'm setting up for down dog. Now, down dog can be a challenging pose for a lot of people. Hand pressure, wrist pressure, shoulder positioning, tightness in the backs of the legs. You could join for a little bit, lower down and rest. You could do any of these sort of warm-ups we've already done or one we haven't done you'd like to add in instead. Down dog, hands forward of shoulders, fingers spread, hips up and back. So I'm pretty tight here through the backs of my legs, and I'm nursing an Achilles injury, so I'm modifying quite a bit in my down dog. I'm bending my knees and reaching those sitting bones up and back because I'd like to prioritize the lengthening of the spine, relaxing my head between the upper arms, could be shaking that head out. Maybe you add a pedal of the feet here, or lift the heels lower. Take a few more breaths. Settle in that down dog. Look forward, and we're stepping the left foot between the hands. And if it doesn't get there on the first try, lower that right knee, left hand helping that foot come forward. So you have the ankle under the knee. I'm going to use my yoga blocks under my hands. You could be up on fingertips for this, so whatever works for you. I just need a little bit more space for my hip, spine, and my hamstrings for sure. Hands, the blocks are a little bit behind my foot, not directly behind, but behind the level of my heel, because I'm shifting my hips back, starting to straighten my front knee. So you open up the hamstrings here, the mid of the back of the thigh, and then shifting forward, letting the hips drop. So we exhale, shift the hips back. Keep a slight bend in that knee. Don't straighten it all the way. Inhale, bring it forward. Or it might be a bigger bend in that knee, just depending on how tight or sore those hamstrings are. You could keep it here, back knee staying grounded, or lift the back knee up. It's the same motion, but then we add a little calf stretch here to that back leg. We're shifting forward here. Lower the back knee again. You might even bring that ankle back underneath the knee some. Lift the torso into this upright position. So finding the balance, sometimes you need a hand on the wall or a steady piece of furniture, or even hands on the thighs. But eventually we're going to find that length in the spine, tailbone towards the earth, top of the head towards the sky. And options here, if you have shoulder or neck issues, you might keep your hands on the hips or overhead holding elbows. One more option is hands behind the head, elbows out. Wherever you are, spine stays long, lower body stays here. We're circling the upper body. So I'm leaning towards the left a little and then forward, over towards the right, upright. So we inhale, upper body leaning towards the left and forward, exhale it to the right and upright again. So do one or two more like this, depending on how slowly you're going and what feels right to your body. We'll come into that upright position, and we're lowering both hands down around that front foot and stepping this back into a down dog. Take a moment here, take a few more rounds of shaking the head, pedaling the feet. Other little release is that might happen. You can kind of shoehorn into that down dog. Look forward, right foot between the hands. You might need to help it get to the front, lowering that back knee. You could be up on fingertips here or hands on the blocks to create a little bit more space and a little more freedom of movement, or even comfort of movement. So this is the one where we shift the hips back, front toes will pop up off the floor, and then we shift forward, lowering the hips. Exhale, shifting back. Inhale, shift forward. Make sure you keep at least a slight bend in that front knee as you shift back so you don't strain the tendons of the hamstring. You could stay with the back knee down or lift it up, doing that same movement. It's not necessarily a progression. It's just a variation and an option. All right, shifting forward, we'll lower that back knee again. Find it, you're kind of 90-90 at hips and knees here. Tailbone down, top of the head, reaching up, finding that balance in the length in the spine. Options, hands on the hips, hold elbows overhead, or hands behind the head. We'll inhale, lengthen up again. That upper body circle, lower body steady. We lean towards the right, forward, and then to the left and upright. So it's inhale, right, forward, exhale, left, and upright. Two more. Bring it into upright. Release the hands to the floor, or maybe those blocks are right there and they're going to just be a little assist to step the back foot to the front foot. Finding a variation of forward fold that works in your body. So the ragdoll version, knees bent, upper body draped over lower body here, or protective of the spine, or if you have tight hamstrings, you're doing feet wide, butt back, forearms on the thighs. Either of these variations, you could sway a little bit, subtle weight shifts. If you're in the ragdoll, holding elbows here can release tension the muscles around the neck, the upper back. Maybe shake that head out a little bit. Weight shift, bringing it back to center, bend the knees, look forward. Inhale, rise up to stand. You could reach your arms up. And then exhale, hands to prayer. We'll let the arms go here. Shake out your arms, roll the shoulders. Moving that blanket out of the way if you had it there for your knees. I'm turning just so I can face you here, but whatever position your mat that feels good. We don't actually even need the mat for this. But we're going to stand with our feet about shoulder distance apart. We're doing a little shift and a swing of the arms side to side, but so that you don't twist through the knees, we're going to be pivoting the foot up that we're shifting away from. So sweep the arms over to one side. Notice how my heel peels up off the floor where I'm shifting away from. And then I sweep it over to the other side. That heel shifting up, pivoting off the floor. Inhale to the side. Exhale to the other side. So you could make it a little more fluid, flowy, a little more pendular motion of the arms so that you're not really working that hard through the shoulder muscles. It's a little momentum helping you. And then we'll bring it back into center. Maybe just do a smaller volume of that arm swing here. Good. All right, shaking it out. A little more of the flowy movements here. This is our paintbrush hand. So I'm borrowing a little bit from Tai Chi. Again, the feet are about shoulder distance apart. We're bringing our arms forward, wrists relaxed. So the hands are kind of draped, hanging down. And inhaling, reach the backs of the hands up towards the ceiling. And then we're flipping the palms forward and sitting back into a little squat. The chest gaze stays forward. Palms down, inhale, reach up with the backs of the wrists, straightening the legs. Palms forward, exhale, sitting back. So notice I'm not folding over. The torso is not bowing forward. I'm staying upright. And I'm making this movement pretty fluid to match the breath. All right, listen for change here on the next one. We're coming back up. And then pivot towards one side. Your toes will come up. And then we're folding over that leg. Notice I'm bending generously the other knee. Inhaling up. Pivot towards the other side. Toes up. Exhale over that leg. Other knee bends. Inhale up. Come back through center. Exhale, sit back. Inhale up. Over towards that first side. Toes up. Exhale over it. Inhaling up. To the other side. Toes up. Exhale over it. Inhale up. Center one last time. Exhale, sit back. Inhaling up. Let it go. Let those arms go again. Shake it out here a little bit. Roll the shoulders. All right, come on up to the front of your mat. Take a big step back with the left foot. Pivot that left heel down. So we're setting up for warrior two position, meaning front heel roughly lining up with the arch of the back foot, front knee bent. Tailbone lengthens towards the earth. The top of the head lengthens towards the sky. You could keep your arms out of it and just focus right here on that stance and the lengthening of the spine, or reaching your arms forward and back. Shoulders relaxed away from the ears. I'm adding a nerve glide to this one. I did this in my Sunday class, so it might be familiar. We're flipping the back palm to face up towards the ceiling. And you could look towards the back hand to start. We're tipping those back fingers down towards the floor. You might feel a pull, a tug on the forearm, the palm, and then just let it release back to that parallel to the floor position. So we inhale, back fingers towards the earth. Exhale, let it kind of come up on its own. We'll do that a few times here. And once you have it, you can look over that front hand. So this is a median nerve glide. This nerve runs from the neck, several levels off the spine, coming all the way down to the forearm, the palm, that middle finger. This is the nerve that gets entrapped in carpal tunnel syndrome. All right, we're going to straighten the front leg, sweep your arms, release that out. Roll the shoulders. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. Instead of stepping forward, we're just going to pivot towards the back of the mat. All right, so now it's my left knee that's bending. Tailbone down, top of the head is reaching up. You could keep your arms out of it, focusing here, or arms reaching forward and back, shoulders relaxed away from the ears. Back hand, now it's your right hand, palm facing up. We inhale, tip those fingers towards the floor. Exhale, release that movement at the wrist. Just doing a few here. If this is really tight, painful, make the movement smaller. You can bring the gaze over that front arm, shoulders stay relaxed away from the ears. So nerve glides work in that you're giving a little tug on the nerve, the furthest away from the spine, the end furthest away from the spine, and then we release, tug and release. All right, relax your arms here, straighten both legs, shaking those shoulders out. Toe heel your feet in so they're just slightly wider than shoulder distance. A couple of backward shoulder rolls just to finish that thought. The tug and release can help break down any bound down connective tissue around the nerve itself or the branches of the nerve. It's not just one straight line from the neck to the hand. So we're working a little bit on balance and dynamic balance. Often our yoga poses of balance, we kind of try to hold and stay steady, which is fine, except for kind of normal everyday life, you're moving. You're not just trying to hold one position. So this one is a balancing goddess, or in my mind, I think of it like a graceful sumo wrestler. So toes are turned out a bit. We're going to sit back. It's not that wide goddess stance we often have in the pose. We're bringing our arms up into the cactus position, shoulders relaxed away from the ears. Focus your gaze on a spot straight ahead. We're going to start easier. We're shifting our weight towards one side. Come up on the tiptoe of the foot you're shifting away from and arms stretch out. And then we sit back into the squat. We inhale, shift to the other side, tiptoe the foot we're shifting away from. Exhale into that goddess. So we inhale, shift, reach. Exhale, settle into center. Keep going. And you might have to adjust where your feet are. If they're too far apart, it's hard to shift. So you could keep it right here where you always have like 1.5 feet down, right? Or you could briefly lift that foot and gentle land. Inhale, brief lift, exhale, gentle land, right? Or maybe you don't shift far enough or you shift too far. Sometimes it's hard to find that right amount of shift. All right, keep going or pause. Relax the shoulders. Breathe. Gentle land. Other side. Breathe or keep it going, right? Keep it dynamic. All right, lower down, let it go. Shake those arms out, roll the shoulders. We're going to do a little bit more with balance. Balance, believe it or not, was actually one of the requests. So we're working on some of the components of balance. So your vision has a lot to do with balance. I'm going to put my glasses on so I can optimize my visual feedback here. The sensation of your feet has a lot to do with balance. Like, can you tell where your weight is shifting? And then your inner ear. So we're going to kind of mess with all three of those here in just a moment. You might want to be by the wall. You might want to come off the squishier surface. The squishier the surface, the longer it takes for the feedback of where the pressure in your feet is coming from. So we're standing with one foot directly in front of the other. So it's if you were on a balance beam. Now we're not walking the balance beam. We're going to hold this position. Put a tiny bend in both knees. First, we're focusing our gaze on a non-moving spot straight ahead. Relax the shoulders. So that visual feedback here helping us stay steady. Give us a reference point. And then we're shifting most of our weight towards the front foot and then shifting most of the weight towards the back foot. And already, I'm a little bit challenged in that transition of shifting weight forward and back, right? The challenge comes initially just by narrowing the base of support, right? Our feet are no longer hip distance apart. And then see if you can find where your weight is shifted evenly between the front and back foot, roughly speaking. Breathe. It could be you're challenged enough just staying here. You could stay with this or add the head turn. So you're turning your head side to side. Now, not only are we no longer getting the same visual feedback, I'm changing what I'm seeing here, but I'm turning the head, which makes my inner ear have to work harder to catch up to the head turns. The inner ear works when it tells me it's just your head moving, it's not the world spinning around, right? So if you've ever had vertigo, it feels like the world, the room is spinning around you. So that's a dysfunction of the inner ear. All right, bring the head back to center. Remember which foot you have forward. Come up, shake it out, because the feet and the ankle were probably having to work pretty hard there, right? Because we took some of the other components away or we impaired them, the visual part, the inner ear. So the pressure under the feet, your feet were looking for that sensation. So those are those tiny little movements. All right, other foot forward. You're in that on that balance beam or the tightrope. Tiny bend to both knees. This just gives us one more joint to react with. Focus your gaze on a spot straight ahead, that tailbone down, top of the head up, and then we're shifting our weight towards the front foot and then towards the back foot. Make sure you're breathing here. Maybe that wall is helpful to have nearby. Maybe you end up having to take a step out to keep from falling. All of those, even though they may not seem like good signs, it's you're learning where your limits of stability are, and then you're reacting, and it's reflexive reaction, right? Like it's not like the signal goes to our brain and our brain says, uh-oh, she's about to fall, we better react. It just happens, which that's what you want. So we're training that reaction to loss of balance. All right, find where your weight shift here is evenly between the front and the back foot. You could stay here. This could be as much as your body can take, because this has already worked for me and my feet and ankles. Or slowly turn the head side to side. So we're talking about the feet and the ankles here, but in the boat, if you're in a single, and you're having to look behind you to make sure you're going straight, you got to keep your hips level and to keep the boat from rocking side to side. So the more control you have in the core, in the hips, the better your inner ears are working, the more steady you can keep the boat. Right, come back up, Shake out the legs, roll the shoulders. That's it. May not be easy, but it's simple to practice. You could be in your kitchen while you're waiting for the coffee to make coffee maker to go, or the tea, the water to boil for the tea, and do that for like 30 seconds. All right, we're coming down to the floor into a child's or puppy pose, and you might like to have the elbows bent instead of reaching forward, hands stacked forward of the top of the head or underneath the forehead here. Take a few breaths, slowing your breathing down. Coming back to that intention you set at the beginning of the practice, remembering what you're wanting to get out of this practice today. And I'm a firm believer, if I show up to yoga class and it's not the teacher I thought it was going to be, or the practice is different than what I anticipated or what I wanted, then if I listen to my body, if I add movements or substitute things that make the practice work better for me, I can really get what I need out of the practice, or even what I want out of the practice. You could stay here longer, resting a little bit more. We're coming up to sitting, so you could just rise up here sitting on your shins, hips over the heels or in between, or one or two yoga blocks there in between your heels. So you make yourself a little perch. You could always be sitting cross-legged or straddle, but I'd like you to be in a position where you can sit tall without having that sort of C shape going through the spine. You can sit tall without like something resisting you sitting there. So you could always sit perched on the like front edge of a chair, couch. We're coming into another nerve glide. So before we did this one where we tip the fingers down, that works on the median nerve. Now we're going to work on the ulnar nerve. This one can be problematic. Both of them actually can be problematic. Compression of the nerve or restriction of the nerve in the forearm or the elbow if you do a lot of gripping. So thinking about holding the oars or lifting weights and the gripping that you need to do there. But it can also have compression up here in the chest and around the neck, or restriction of it. So this is a different movement. It's a different nerve that again starts on the neck, coming down to the hand, actually goes all the way to that little finger. So we're making the OK symbol with the hand. And then we're going to tip those fingers back towards your face. So you might feel that pull, the tug up the outer forearm to that pinky. Maybe not. And then we let it go. So we bring the hand down. So I'm staying with the OK symbol. We inhale, bring it back, fingers towards the face. Exhale, bring it down. Now you could add head movement here. So as you bring the fingers towards your face, you tip your head towards that side. And as the hand goes away, we tip the head away. So fingers towards your face, head tips towards that side, and then fingers away, head away. We'll do just a few more. You really only need to do like 6 to 8 repetitions of these. Keep it gentle, right? So we don't want strong sensation with this. Strong sensation means we have stretched the nerve. Nerves do not like to be stretched. We're tugging, releasing, tugging, releasing. All right, let it go. Shake out the arm, roll the shoulders. See if you can feel a difference between the sides. I can feel a little bit more openness through the side I just did. So hopefully I get that on this next side. OK symbol. Tip the fingers back towards your face and then bring the fingers down and away. Inhale, fingers towards the face. Exhale, bring it down and away. So you could add the head movements. Fingers towards you, head tilts towards that side. Fingers away, head away. And for whatever reason, my ulnar nerve on this side is a little more bound down. I cannot move it as far before I start to feel the sensation. So I'm being a little more conservative with my movement because I don't want to aggravate the nerve. I want it to be released. I don't want it to be inflamed. All right, let this go. Shake out the arm, roll the shoulders, see how it feels here, left and right sides. Maybe you feel a little more length here through the neck. And now we're coming into a seated stretch that will work. It's actually stretching quite a few things. But I'm going to use my blanket to elevate my hips. So I folded it over, have a little bit more of a perch underneath my hips here. And there's some options here from sitting. If you're really tight in your hamstrings, if you have a herniated disc or have had one, I would come on my back and do a hamstring stretch. So that would look something more like this, coming up or using a strap to hold that position. If you're with the seated version of this, we're straightening one leg, bending the other knee. So you're almost in like a tree pose position sitting down. Sometimes my outer knee does not like that position, or maybe it's the inner thigh. You can always slide a block underneath there. Start with your hands by your hips and sit tall. Now, for some of you, this may already be a stretch and you could stay right here. Or you could walk your hands forward, hinging from the hips. Note I'm not rounding my back just yet. This could be enough for you. Or you could add a little rotation, a little twist with this. So I'm going to bring my hand out to the side, the straightened leg side. It's sort of the kickstand. And my other hand crosses over to find the outside of the calf or the ankle. Maybe you get the foot. This is a nice place for the strap. So if it feels far away and you need like a little bit of leverage, sometimes having the strap here helps. So instead of going straight over the leg, I'm rotating my chest and shoulders to the outside of that straightened leg. And if it's okay, well, actually, go ahead and lift the chest a little bit more. And then if it's okay, turn to look over the shoulder of that stabilizing arm. We're taking a few breaths here. So hamstring stretch on the straightened leg. You might be feeling the side low back stretching here on the one you're turning away from, of the bent leg side. Breathe. But it could also be lats you're feeling stretching here. Those breathing muscles that run between the ribs. Coming back up here, rising up. Couple of backward shoulder rolls, both legs out straight. Shake out your legs a little bit. Sometimes I just use my hands just to jiggle my quads and hip flexors to get them to release. And then we'll do the other side. So bending that knee. Maybe you place a block under that outer knee. And hands by the hips, sit tall. You could stay here, could be enough stretch, or you hinge forward. That could be enough for you. And remember, if you have herniated disc, it's really tight hamstrings, come on your back for the hamstring stretch. Could be both hands coming around the leg here. If the twist feels good, one hand out to the side, it's the kickstand. Other hand crosses over to get to the outer calf, the ankle, or the foot. Lift the chest, right? So I am twisted here a little bit. Maybe you look over the shoulder of the supporting arm. Take a few breaths. Lifting that head up, straightening out both legs. Shake out your legs, maybe jiggle the hips, the hip flexors, the quads here. Coming onto your side, we're setting up for a quad stretch. You might want the strap if you struggle to get the foot at times. So support the head. It could be you slide an arm underneath or folded blanket or block, just so you're not straining through the neck. We're going to stretch the top leg. So reach that foot back and find the foot with your hand or lasso the foot with a strap. And you are check in with that knee. See where it is. If the knee is forward or up or both, work towards the kneecap pointing towards the foot of your mat. And you're going to feel all four of those quads stretching there. Might even feel some of your hip flexors stretching, ones that go up into the lower abdomen. Take a few breaths. We'll let that foot go. Turn onto the other side. Support the head so there's no neck strain. Top foot back, reach back, find it with the hand or the strap. Check in where that knee is. Is it up? Is it forward? Work towards the kneecap, pointing towards the foot of the mat. Take a few breaths. So I recommend quad stretches for almost everybody, um, regardless of what you're coming to physical therapy for, because our movements are quadricep dominant, and definitely rowing is. So lengthening, gentle stretching, very helpful for counteracting negative effects of like repeated movements, repetitive strain to the joints, the tendons, the muscles. Letting this go, coming onto our bellies, and I'm getting ready for some belly down back bends or locust poses. So I'm using my blanket here to pad the pubic bones. I'm unfolding it here a little bit more so it's not a big lump underneath there. I would say that if you have some arthritis in your lower back or you tend to tighten or spasm up in the lower back, this may not be the best movement for you. You could turn onto your back and do bridge pose. You could come into a supported bridge if you're ready for something a little bit more restorative. So this one will have the hands down by the sides, tailbone lengthening towards your feet. So you'll feel low belly engaged, pubic bone press into the floor. It takes pressure off the low back. Inhale, lift the head, chest, the arms, they reach toward your feet. Maybe legs lift here, and then we lower. So we're flowing with this one. We inhale, lift, lengthen back of neck, arms reach towards feet. Exhale, lower. Two more. Exhale, lower down. You could bring your arms forward to rest the head. We'll bend the knees and rock the legs side to side, a little windshield wiper motion. And then let the legs go, rolling onto your back. A few more stretches here before we get to relax. Stretching the backs of the hips, those glutes. So this is an area that you feel really tight in or you've overworked recently. Be gentle. Knees bent, cross one thigh over the other. Pull the legs in towards you, holding shins or backs of thighs or the strap, holding the backs of thighs here. What we're hoping to get is a stretch or sensation of openness in the buttocks of the top leg. You could always, an easy substitution here is the ankle over knee stretch. It's stretching same muscles from a different angle. Relax the shoulders, neck, the jaw, maybe gently turning the head side to side to remind those muscles to stay Relax. You do not need to strain through the neck to hold this position. Switch legs. Breathe. Remember, you want the sensation of stretch to be more on the mild to moderate end of the spectrum as opposed to intense or uncomfortable or certainly not painful. Not just because it's more pleasant, but because it actually is more effective at releasing tension. Untangling the legs here, bring the feet down to the floor. We're coming into a variation of a recline twist. If you add all the components to this, this is what another yoga teacher I take from calls it American in Paris twist, because evidently Gene Kelly is like leaping through the air in this position, which is kind of hard to believe and miraculous. But we'll bring the arms out to the sides. Drop both knees over to your right. So you could keep it like this. Keep it simple. You could even use a prop here between the knees or underneath the outer knee. Or you could straighten this top leg. So my top knee straightens and my left foot is reaching towards the right ball. This could be as far as it goes, gaze up or head turned away. This is, for me, this is kind of a lovely one. Or you could add the quad stretch of this bottom leg, the right leg. So I have to lift my head to get it. My left hand finding the right foot, and then I lay that head back down. You could use the strap to get the foot, but sometimes all of it together is just too much. Like I get here and I'm like, okay, I'm here, but I can't breathe, or something hurts. So maybe let something go. It could be you bend that top knee or you release the bottom foot, or you use a prop, another nice prop here. If you have the legs straightened as a block underneath that foot or knee or calf. Find some ease in your breath. Let that quad stretch go. Bend the top knee and roll onto your back. Maybe hug the knees in, gentle rocking. And then we'll do the other side. So knees go to the left. I'm going to make a little bit more space for myself here. Knees go to the left. Stay with that. Or you straighten the top leg. Stay with that. Or bend that bottom leg, reach back, find the foot. So here's that quad stretch. My right hand is holding the left foot. Gaze up or head turned away from the legs. There's a lot happening here, right? So remember, if it's just too much, take something away. I think there was like a Coco Chanel quote about fashion and style. Look at yourself in the mirror before you leave and take one thing off, whether it's the scarf or the hat or the belt or, I don't know, the brooch. Find the breath. Release the quad stretch, bend the top knee, coming onto your back. Decide if there's something you'd like to do here before Shavasana. A happy baby, different hip stretch and inversion, a bridge or a wheel pose. Something else that your body is requesting. Maybe I didn't include it in the practice. And then think about how you'd like to set yourself up for Shavasana. The position we started in, that face down, the upper back relaxation. Maybe it's legs up the wall, legs on a chair. Maybe you cover up with a blanket. I'm gonna do some legs up the wall because I've got some inflammation in my foot. So I'm gonna use gravitational assist to move some of that inflammatory fluid out of it. Wherever you've chosen to be, get comfortable, right? Settle in, cover up, socks on, adjust, eyes closed or open, whatever feels natural and restful. Take an inhale through the nose, open the mouth, sigh out the breath. One more like that. Let the breath go. Allow the body to rest for the next few minutes. Begin to deepen your breath. Invite some little movements at the toes, the fingers, the ankles, the wrist. Maybe you turn your head. A full body stretch, if it's welcome. Reach your arms overhead. Inhale, lengthen out. Exhale, let it go. Bend the knees and roll to your side, pausing for a moment here on your side. Take a few more bigger breaths before you come up to a seated position. Simultaneously appreciating your body, your breath, your health, your yoga practice. Pressing up to a seated position. Thank you all for being here, sharing your practice, your energy, the light in me. honors the light in each of you. Namaste.